My cousins destroyed my life. I want to start by saying I know I have the worst luck when it comes to men, but my cousins just take the cake. On my mom's side, I, 38 female, have 6 cousins. Let's call them A, B, C, D, E, and F. All girls and around the same age. We grew up in the same neighborhood and some of us went to the same school. Even as teenagers, my cousins were always interested in stealing each other's boyfriends. It felt like shit when they did it to me in high school, and it felt a lot worse years later. That is very, very weird. That is not like normal cousin behavior at all. I think the people that like cousins are typically into makes you want to gag. Like you never want to, well, that's just me personally, maybe because I'm like super close to my cousins. Anyone that they would be interested in, I'd be like, oh, no way. And vice versa. At 22, I met my first husband, Ted, who was 43 at the time. Things moved fast and we got married about a year later. On my 24th birthday, I got the most amazing surprise of finding my husband in bed with my slut of a cousin, A. He apologized and we even tried couples counseling to move on from the incident. I had decided to forgive him just before I found cousin B choking on his balls in my kitchen. Oh my God. Wow, this is really fudged up. I divorced Ted and chalked into getting married to a guy without knowing him. At 27, I met Pete, who was 37 at the time. I know, I have a type. I took things slow and got to know him the best I could. We dated 3 years before we decided to marry. Everything was fine until the wedding day when my sister came crying to me and told me how Pete had tried to kiss her the previous night. I thought it was a misunderstanding and immediately went to Pete's hotel room to talk about it and clear things up. That's when I saw cousin C and cousin D pleasuring the groom while my best friend and maid of honor was entertaining the other groomsmen. Wow, no offense. I'm so sorry. Your family sucks. Literally. Bad joke. I cut off contact with everyone except my sister and mother. I decided to be celibate for a few years, and when I got back to being with other people, I just wanted sex, no relationship. At 35, I met Andy, who was 28 at the time. Andy had just gotten out of a long relationship as his ex had dumped him for a rich guy. He also didn't want any relationship, which brought us together. After a whole year of just doing it casually, we developed feelings for each other. Duh. Andy never hid anything from me, told me about all of his past relationship, and as far as I could tell, he didn't lie. A month ago, I found out I was pregnant. When I shared the news with Andy, he was very excited and we decided to keep the baby. He proposed to me last week and I said yes, hoping this time I would get my happy ending. When I informed my mother, she decided to throw me and Andy an engagement party without really asking us about the guests we wanted to invite. She invited the entire family, including all of my cousins. Andy knew what they had done, but asked me to put on a happy face for the sake of my mother. Did your mom not know this was happening? My mom would, if your mom didn't know, then I get it. But if she did know, which I'm pretty certain she does because why else would you get divorced? She would know about it. That's so stupid that she would invite them. It was difficult, but then cousin E walked in and Andy just lost his cool. Oh no, I just read the next sentence. E was the girlfriend who dumped him for the rich guy and she took the opportunity to remind me that I was still eating her scraps. Andy yelled at E for talking to me that way and she made it a yelling match. Things hadn't even settled down before cousin F accused Andy of being the baby daddy of her oldest child, 12 male. He's 28, then he would have been 16. You were okay. This broke and I just bolted. Andy came after me. I locked him out of our apartment, told him to go away and give me some room, but he didn't. He slept on the doorstep the whole night. I keep thinking to myself, at least he didn't cheat. Yes, he didn't cheat, but why did he have to sleep with my slutty cousins? He told me all about his relationship with E, but I never made the connection that it was the same E. And F, oh my God, he must have slept with her when he was 18 and she would have been 32 at the time. F is the neighborhood whore. Every guy in her block has slept with her. I'm surprised she even remembers Andy and is confident about Andy being the father. Can I blame him for sleeping with someone when he was 18? I slept with guys when I was 18 and I don't remember most of them. Somehow I'm mad at him and I also understand what happened. He hasn't actually said he is sorry, but for some reason I keep thinking, I forgive you. I have the worst life. Just on that last sentence because you said it, what does he have to be sorry for? If anything happens prior to meeting you, then it doesn't count. Whatever you did in your life before you meet me, it's not relevant to me. If you do it while we're together, then you have to apologize. Secondly, oh my God, where the hell do you live? Do you live in like one of those weird ass towns where there's like 10 people, 50 people? I would have like moved cities, moved states, get away from them. Why are you guys all so physically close to each other? You need a fresh start sometimes. One of the top comments says, this sounds like a Jerry Springer fan fiction. My 2 cents. You're going through a lot and I can sympathize with you because that sucks 1000%. But at least like I'm glad you still have Andy and like this is not like a very sad ending. Andy hasn't done anything for you to justify the way you were treating him. He was seduced by a woman who was almost twice his age when he was barely just an adult. Then he had a woman betray him and destroy the relationship. And those people just happened to be your cousins. Now he has found a woman that he wants to spend the rest of his life with and raise children with. You're also pregnant, but yet she is locking him out of her apartment despite knowing he did nothing wrong. And puppies, don't yell at me, guys. If anyone needs to apologize between the two of you, it's you. You're just really genuinely treating him badly. And I know this is like a sore subject for you. I get it. Like, what a small world. Why did it have to be your cousins? But it's not anything that happened prior. I really do hope you two can work it out, though. But you can't punish him for the actions of others.
My wife had an affair years ago. I just found out she's talking to the man again, and I want a divorce. Am I overreacting?
Nope.
I don't think so.
Nope. Not at all.
What a crazy, terrible night I had. 4 years ago, my wife had an affair with a coworker. We had been married for 3 years at that time, and we were both trying to have kids, but had fertility issues, and both were having a hard time with that. I caught her because another coworker reached out to me to let me know what was going on. We were incredibly close to divorce, but through counseling, we made it through and have a pretty good marriage and have had a pretty good marriage over the last 2 years. We have a date night once a week that I plan. I bring her flowers at least once a week. I write love notes, etc. I don't want to lose her. She left the job so that she would not be around that man. Went completely no contact with him. Fast forward to yesterday, we were at the gym and I was waiting for my wife to get done showering. I had forgotten my phone at home and grabbed hers to kill some time. I wasn't trying to snoop. It had been at least 2 years since I had even felt that I needed to snoop. I open up Instagram and I start scrolling through pictures, but then I notice that she has a message. I knew it was wrong to click. That's too far and an invasion of her privacy, but curiosity got a hold of me. It was him, the coworker that she had an affair with. 2 months ago, he reached out to see how she was doing. I read through all of the messages. There was nothing wrong with what they said. It was just them catching up about life and work. He's still at the old job. If it had been anyone else, I wouldn't have even cared. But this was the man that helped almost ruin my marriage. I took screenshots and I sent them to myself, waited until we got into the car, and then asked her why she is talking to him. She starts screaming that I shouldn't have looked at her messages, saying that I don't trust her. I apologized for snooping, but told her that I want a divorce. She stopped talking to me and left the house as soon as we got home. I have no idea where she went. Even this morning, she hasn't responded. Waking up this morning, I still believe I want a divorce. The pain of the affair was too much. I know they aren't having an affair right now, but the fact that she's even talking to him is insulting to me, especially without telling me. Am I overreacting? And then there's an edit/update. Update. My wife finally responded by text. She claims to have stayed at a hotel overnight. She says that I should go to my parents. I realized I forgot to mention we have a 1-year-old boy, so I'll need some help with him, as she said she can't talk to me right now. She says she understands why I want a divorce and won't fight it. She's looking for lawyers right now. I'm not sure what to feel. Honestly, I knew that I would want to continue on the path to divorce, but I think part of me hoped that there would still be a little fight for me from her. Right. I imagine she'll probably start dating her old coworker again. I just hope she fights for our boy during all of this. She is a really good mother to him, and he deserves to have her in his life. Thank you all for the support, and I'll keep this up to date.
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah.
That is tough. Mm-hmm. Poor baby.
And then there was a comment that said, so let me get this straight. Your wife cheats on you. You two go to marriage counseling and the outcome is that you stay together, but you're bending over backwards to rekindle the intimacy in your relationship by planning date nights and sending her flowers on the regular when you're the one that got cheated on. What has she done to make amends in the marriage? What is she doing to let you know she's faithful and wants to be with you? The absolute minimum she could have done is permanently block the affair partner on all mediums and never interact with them again. Her reaction to you finding the messages, while seemingly is harmless, says it all. Those are just the ones you saw. She may have deleted some DMs or may still be screwing around on other apps. She sees stability in you but treats you like a doormat. I hope you two never have kids after having the fertility issues because the divorce is just going to be messier. And then it says, edit, in case my most recent replies get lost in the shuffle, don't leave your house under no circumstances. Take an LOA from your job to care for your son. He's the most important right now. Am I the asshole for telling my uncle and wife they should be embarrassed? Context, my uncle, my mom's brother, and his wife are living with my grandparents. When they moved into my grandparents' condo, they claimed the bigger room and put my aunt, my mom's sister, and my grandma's caretaker, and my grandparents all in a much smaller room. My grandparents, being the selfless people they are, never argued with them about it in fear of my uncle. My aunt didn't want to fight with him either due to fear and him being so mean to her since they were young. My uncle is in his late 40s, early 50s, maybe, and he married his wife like 10 years ago. She's never made any effort to build any kind of relationship with my family, so she's quite literally a stranger to me. Although living in my grandparents' condo and paying minimal rent, $600 including utilities, in the greater Boston area, they do everything in their power to make my grandparents' lives more difficult, and everything they own in the condo is labeled. The napkins are even labeled. This might be acceptable in an ordinary roommate situation, but these are his parents. Today I went to visit my grandparents and immediately noticed an air mattress in the living room. I asked who was sleeping there, and my grandparents said that they were. Why? Why? Because the room they have does not have a window that is compatible with their AC. There has been a heat wave bringing extreme humidity that has been very dangerous for many people. Once I found out that the room that my uncle and his wife had AC, they had just been allowing my 80-year-old grandparents to be sleeping on an air mattress, I got very angry. I wasn't expecting them to offer their room. I knew they were way too selfish for that. However, I believe my uncle should have gone to buy his parents an AC unit that was compatible with the window. My uncle was not home, but his wife was, and she walked in as I was discovering this information. She marched straight to the room without greeting anyone, as she always does. I'm not sure if it was just the situation today or years of built-up anger towards their selfishness, but I was done with just staying quiet like everyone else. I started saying how unfair and crazy it was to treat your own parents and in-laws this way, especially since they do so much for you. This prompted the wife to come out of hiding and approach where I was to say hi. She had ignored me every time I was over for well over a year. I could not put on a fake smile this time, and I blurted out, "I bet you're comfy in that nice cool room. Are you not embarrassed that you're sleeping comfortably while two elderly people, my grandma was also just recovering from surgery, are sleeping on an air mattress?" She responded by saying, "Don't worry, we'll be out soon," and then starts crying. This made me laugh, and I will say I was an asshole for this part, but I turned at her, mocking her crying. She dramatically stormed out, saying she's leaving out of this house, but comes back less than a minute later with my uncle on the phone. I'm guessing she thought I wouldn't say the same thing to him, but I doubled down and I said he should have made sure my grandparents had AC. He responded with, "What gives you the right to say that?" and says that my grandparents did that on their own. He didn't ask them to sleep there. He kept mentioning how it was their choice and they volunteered to. Well, no shit. Their choices were hot-ass sauna room or cooler open space. After about 15 minutes of him yelling at my grandma and my mom on the phone, he finally hung up. Later that evening when I was home, I received a text from an unknown number saying that I was a rude child and that my mom did a terrible job raising me. After looking up the number, it ended up being the wife's 28-year-old daughter. I probably didn't handle the situation the best, but I don't think that I'm the asshole. Who else would be okay with their 80-year-old grandparents sleeping on the air mattress in 90-degree weather? And then there's a little update. They're moving out. They leave officially tomorrow, and my grandparents finally stopped babying them. They aren't mad at me anymore after they realized how immature and rude he is. I'm glad they're getting their room back. Why isn't anyone reporting them for elderly abuse? And then OP responded, "My mom and I are looking into it. We just don't want my mom's sister, their caretaker, to be blamed for allowing it. But she didn't have much of a say. She's genuinely terrified of him. She also has really bad paranoia, and we're really hoping that he won't come back. But if he does, we will be reporting ASAP." And then somebody else said, "Dude, I work with seniors. Report them for elder abuse."
Trigger warning for abuse. Title is, "I slapped my wife because she burnt our son on purpose." This is not my Reddit account, but I need opinions on this matter. My wife, 40 female, and I, 43 male, have been married for 6 years and have 3 children. My wife is a stay-at-home mom. Our son, who's 3 years old, is very hyperactive. She is naturally strict and authoritarian with our children, but our son really struggles to listen to her and stay still. I admit that he is a very difficult child. Yesterday, when I came back home from work, I noticed that my son had bandages on the back of his hands. When I asked my wife about it, she told me he was fooling around in the kitchen and accidentally burnt himself. I found her expression very weird because of the location of the burning. It was in the middle of the back of both of his hands, which is a very weird spot to fall on. She finally admitted that she burnt his hands on purpose with a very hot metal spoon that she was cooking with because he kept running in the kitchen and wouldn't stay still. When she told me that, I slapped her and yelled at her. Thinking that she purposely inflicted such a pain on our 3-year-old son drove me crazy. The burns are very visible and he will need treatment for it. I never hit my wife before, but I honestly feel like she deserved it for what she did to our son. Am I the asshole?